Since ancient times, agriculture has been the foundation of Indian economy. Nearly 67% of our population is engaged in agriculture or agriculture-related activities. Besides providing food to our growing population, raw material from agriculture also supports a number of industries like cotton textiles, food processing, and handicrafts. With the introduction of machines, chemical fertilizers, and research for better farming techniques, cultivation methods in India have changed a lot over the years. Let us explore the main farming systems practiced in India. One system of cultivation, practiced in several parts of India, is called primitive subsistence farming. This system involves cultivating food crops in small fields using hand tools like hoes and digging sticks. The entire produce is used to sustain the farmer's family or community. The primitive subsistence farming system does not use any modern know-how like chemical fertilizers and depends entirely on local soil, environment conditions, and monsoons. Primitive subsistence farming involves hard manual labor, and often all members of the family have to work in the field. This system of farming is slash and burn agriculture, where farmers clear areas of forest for cultivation. When the fertility of the soil decreases, the farmer clears a fresh patch of land to cultivate. Crops such as corn, rice, and millets are grown in this type of farming. Although this form of shifting cultivation allows the soil to regain its fertility naturally, it gives very poor yields to farmers and leads to large-scale destruction of forests. Besides India, slash and burn or shifting cultivation is practiced in many parts of the world and is known by different names as shown on this map. In India, the most popular name for such shifting cultivation is jumming. In many of our northeastern states of Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, and Nagaland. However, it is known by several other names in other parts of India, as shown on this map. Another system of cultivation practiced in India is called intensive subsistence farming. This system is practiced in densely populated areas of India like Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and the coastal regions of Andhra Pradesh. The main purpose of intensive subsistence farming is to get maximum yield from the available land. Thus, extensive irrigation methods and large quantities of chemical fertilizers are used in this system of farming. Farmland repeatedly gets divided amongst successive generations of farmers. Thus, over time, a large farm is reduced to much smaller, individually owned fields. This decrease in landholding further encourages farmers to use all available means to increase their yield. This puts a lot of pressure on farmlands. Commercial farming is another system of cultivation practiced in many parts of India. This involves the cultivation of a crop in large quantities for the purpose of selling it in the market. Commercial farming makes use of all modern advances in the field of agriculture, like the use of high-yielding seeds, chemical fertilizers, and pesticides. Plantations of crops like tea in Assam and North Bengal, coffee in Karnataka, rubber in Kerala, and bamboo, sugarcane, cotton, and banana are also forms of commercial farming. In these plantations, a single crop is cultivated over vast areas. The produce from a plantation may also serve as raw material for an industry. Did you know? Kerala accounts for nearly 90% of the rubber production in India. The cultivation of a crop can be classified as commercial or subsistence farming, depending on the area where it is grown. Observe this map showing the rice growing areas in India. For a farmer in Tamil Nadu, rice is a subsistence crop since it is his staple diet. However, for a farmer in Punjab, rice cultivation is commercial farming as he does not grow it for personal consumption, but for profit. Did you know? Punjab is called the granary of India, as it produces 14% of India's cotton, 20% of India's wheat, and 9% of India's rice. Oilseed crops like groundnut are a commercial crop in India and forms the most important portion of its agricultural economy. Its production is mainly in 4 states, namely Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. From food grains, spices, oilseeds, fruits and vegetables, to commercial crops like tea, coffee, and sugarcane, the variety of crops grown in India is truly amazing. Just like we experience several seasons in a year, agriculture in India also follows 3 distinct cropping seasons. These are called Rabi, Kharif, and Zaid. Let us learn more about each of these cropping seasons. The Rabi season is in the months of October to December, when the crops are sown. The crops are harvested the following year in the months of April to June. Did you know? The ripening of the Rabi crop is celebrated mostly in the month of April through different harvest festivals in India, like Baisakhi in Punjab. Important Rabi crops are wheat, mustard, barley, grams and peas. The important areas of Rabi crops are Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. The success of Rabi crops in these states depends on rainfall in the winter season caused by western temperate cyclones. Did you know wheat is now grown in West Bengal and to a small extent in the southern states of India? A movement launched in India in the mid-1960s promoted the use of high-yield seeds and an increase in the use of fertilizers and irrigation. This movement is called the Green Revolution of India. The success of the Green Revolution in the northern states has played a major role in the growth of Rabi crops. The Kharif season brings with the onset of monsoons in different parts of India in the months of July to August. Kharif crops are harvested in the months of September and October. Important Kharif crops are rice, maize, millets like jowar and bajra, pulses like arhar or tur, moong and urad, fiber crops like cotton and jute, and oil seeds like groundnut and soybean. The main rice-producing areas in India are Assam, West Bengal, coastal Orissa, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Konkan in Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. In recent times, rice has become an important commercial crop in Punjab and Haryana also. The summer months between harvesting the Rabi crop and sowing the Kharif crop are called the Zaid season. During the Zaid season, farmers cultivate crops that grow quickly, like watermelon, muskmelon, cucumber, summer vegetables and fodder crops. Did you know? Some crops are grown in both Rabi and Kharif seasons. Sesame is a Kharif crop in North India, but it is grown in both Rabi and Kharif seasons in South India. Next time you go to buy groceries, take a closer look at the different varieties of food grains, pulses, spices, oil, tea and coffee available in the shop. All these come from crops grown by farmers in different parts of India. depending on the type of soil, ways of cultivation, and climatic conditions. The tasty biryanis, idlis, and dosas that you enjoy are made from rice, the staple food for a majority of our population. India is the second largest producer of rice in the world. Rice is a kharif crop that requires a high temperature, above 25 degrees Celsius, and humidity, and more than 100 centimeters of rainfall for proper growth. The main rice-producing areas in India are the coastal and delta regions, and the northeastern states. The development of irrigation facilities has enabled rice cultivation in Punjab, Haryana, western Uttar Pradesh, and parts of Rajasthan, where rainfall is less. The rotis and mouth-watering puris and kachoris of North and Northwestern India, and the delicious biscuits, cakes, and bread that you eat are made from wheat or wheat products. Wheat is a rabi crop that requires cool weather for growth and warm weather for ripening with 50 to 75 centimeters of rainfall. Wheat is majorly grown in the northwestern plains of India and parts of the Deccan Plateau. The main wheat-producing states are Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, and Madhya Pradesh. Want to makki di rotis from Punjab? The cereal flakes you eat for breakfast and the sweet corn soup in a Chinese restaurant have in common. The main ingredient in all these dishes is maize or corn. Maize is majorly a kharif crop, though it is also grown in the rabi season in some parts of Bihar. Maize grows well in old alluvial soils at moderate temperature from 21 to 27 degrees Celsius. The major maize-producing states in India are Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh. When we talk about food grains, we immediately think of rice and wheat. However, several other food grains like jowar, bajra, and ragi are also grown and consumed in India. These food grains are together called coarse grains or millets. Coarse grains are also used as animal feed. Jowar, also called sorghum, is the third most important food grain grown in India. This is a rain-fed crop that requires little or no irrigation. Maharashtra is the leading producer of jowar. Other important jowar-producing states are Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh. Bajra grows well in shallow black soils and sandy soils of Rajasthan. Rajasthan is the leading producer of bajra that forms an important part of the diet of the people in this region. Other important bajra producing states are Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Haryana. Finger millet or ragi is known for its high nutritional value. Ragi grows well in almost all types of soils. like red, black, sandy or loamy soil. Karnataka is the leading producer of ragi. Other important ragi producing states are Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Sikkim, Jharkhand and Arunachal Pradesh. India is the second largest producer of sugarcane in the world. Sugarcane grows in many different kinds of soils. The crop takes almost a year to mature and requires a hot, humid climate with around 75 to 100 centimeters of rainfall. Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Punjab and Haryana are the main sugarcane producing states in India. When you buy cooking oil, soap, cosmetics or expensive wall paint, you are buying a product made from vegetable oil extracted from crops called oil seeds. Groundnut, coconut, mustard, sesame, soybean, linseed and castor, cotton and sunflower seeds are major oil seeds cultivated in India. Oil seeds are grown in both the Rabi and Kharif seasons. Groundnut is a Kharif crop, while linseed and mustard are Rabi crops. Castor seeds are grown in both the Rabi and Kharif seasons. Sesame is a Rabi crop in southern India and a Kharif crop in northern India. Amongst oil seeds, groundnut requires a special mention as it accounts for about 50% of the total oil seeds produced in India. The largest producer of groundnuts is Andhra Pradesh. Other important groundnut producing states are Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. Most of us begin our day with a steaming cup of tea or coffee. Tea and coffee are beverage crops grown as plantation crops. India is the largest producer, consumer and exporter of tea in the world. A tea plant is a bush that grows in deep, fertile, well-drained soil. The plant requires warm and humid climate with frequent showers for continuous growth. The major tea producing states in India are Assam, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Himachal Pradesh, Uttaranchal, Meghalaya, Tripura and Andhra Pradesh. The Arabica variety of coffee grown in India is appreciated the world over for its superior quality. Major coffee producing area in India are the Nilgiris in Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. India ranks first in the production of fruits and vegetables in the world. We produce nearly 10% of the total fruits and 13% of the total vegetables produced in the world. Some parts of India are famous for the fruits they produce. Next time you go to buy fruits, ask for mangoes from Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. Oranges from Nagpur and Cherrapunji. Bananas from Kerala, Mizoram, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Lychee and guava from UP and Bihar. Pineapples from Meghalaya. Grapes from Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh. And apples, pears, apricots and walnuts from Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. The pencil eraser you carry in your pencil box and the balloons that you put up in a birthday party are made from the same material that is used in making the tires that take the enormous weight of a jumbo jet. This material is called latex and is derived from a non-food plantation crop called rubber. Rubber trees grow well in regions with hot and humid climate and over 200 centimeters of rainfall every year. Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Meghalaya and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands are the major rubber producing regions in India. The cotton uniform you wear, your jute school bag, the hem twine you see being used to tie things together, and your mother's silk sari are all made from natural fibers. While cotton, jute and hem are grown as fiber crops, silk is obtained from cocoons of silkworms fed on mulberry leaves. India is the second largest producer of cotton in the world. Cotton grows well in the black soil of the Deccan Plateau. It is a kharif crop and requires a high temperature and light rainfall or irrigation for proper growth. Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh are the major cotton producing states in India. Jute grows well on fertile, well-drained soils in regions where floodwaters renew the topsoil every year. The crop requires a high temperature for proper growth. West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Orissa and Meghalaya are the major jute-producing states in India. Meet Hariya. He is a farmer in a remote village in India. His great-great-grandfather owned a very large farmland. However, through division of property over several generations, Hariya has been left with a small plot of land to cultivate. Hariya still uses primitive methods of agriculture. Irrigation methods are developed in some parts of the state that Hariya lives in. However, Hariya still depends on the monsoon and the natural fertility of the soil to grow crops. To buy seeds, every year Hariya takes a loan from the local money lender, who charges high rates of interest. Every year, Hariya prays for a good crop. However, he has no way to ensure his crop against destruction by natural forces like fire, drought, flood, disease or cyclone. Even if Hariya has a good crop, the middleman who helps him sell the crop makes the real profit. Hariya hardly gets enough money to sustain his family and repay his loan. The problems faced by Hariya have been faced by farmers in India for centuries. These problems lead to poor yield, and many farmers abandon agriculture to find other vocations. This is not good for a country like India that has a large, increasing population to feed. Realizing the importance of new technology, institutions and bodies to improve the lot of farmers, the Government of India took several initiatives after independence. The land reforms initiated in the first 5-year plan aimed to abolish zamindari and consolidate land holdings. The consolidation of land holdings involved combining adjacent small fields into single large farms and encouraging individual landowners to do cooperative farming. The Government of India introduced major agricultural reforms in the 1960s and 1970s that came to be known as the Green Revolution in India. The major highlights of these reforms were providing high-yielding varieties of seeds and fertilizers to farmers, and developing large-scale irrigation facilities to allow them to grow 2 crops in a year. There was also a white revolution led by Dr. Varghese Kurian. Kurian and his team invented a process of making milk powder and condensed milk from buffalo milk. Conventionally, this was done using cow's milk. The benefits of land and agricultural reforms were limited to a few areas in the country. Hence, the government launched a comprehensive land development program in the 1980s and 1990s. The main highlights of the land development program were insurance cover to farmers against damage to crops and setting up of rural banks and cooperative societies to provide them loans on easy rates of interest. The government also started broadcasting radio and television programs to educate farmers about new techniques of agriculture and give them prior warning about weather conditions. To stop the exploitation of farmers by middlemen, the government announced the procurement, remunerative and minimum support prices of all the major crops in India. The government also launched personal benefit schemes for farmers, like the Kisan Credit Card and the Personal Accident Insurance Scheme. The Government of India launched several programs and initiatives to improve the condition of farmers. However, the implementation of these programs needs improvement so that their benefits reach the farmers in all parts of the country. Before we end, let us talk about a movement called the Bloodless Revolution in India. This movement was started by Acharya Vinoba Bhave, a staunch follower of Mahatma Gandhi, and aimed to improve the condition of landless farmers. on April 18, 1951. Acharya Vinoba Bhave was visiting Pochampally, a small village in Andhra Pradesh. There, some landless villagers asked him for land to sustain their families. While Vinoba Bhave assured them that he would talk to the government, a local landlord, Ramchandra Reddy, offered to donate 80 acres of land to the landless villagers. This was the beginning of the Bhudan movement. Vinoba Bhave carried this idea all over India, and many landlords participated in Bhudan. Some big landlords gave away entire villages to the landless, initiating the Gram Dan movement. While most landlords participated in the Bhudan and Gram Dan movements in good faith, some of them were forced to donate their surplus land when the government imposed the Land Ceiling Act. Under this act, no individual or family could own more than a certain quantum of land. You may often come across people asking you what you want to become after completing your education. Today, you have so many options available. If you look around, you will see that people follow many different professions based on their educational backgrounds. However, the largest number of people in India is employed in the agricultural sector. According to a 2001 study, agriculture provides employment to around 63% of our total population. Observe the graph shown here. It shows the contribution of agriculture, services and industry to India's GDP from 1973 to 2005. Note that the share of agriculture in our gross domestic product or GDP is showing a declining trend. A decrease in the share of agriculture in our GDP does not mean that our agricultural output has decreased. It means that the growth in agriculture is slowing down and is much lower as compared to the growth in industries and services. This is not good, since a slowdown in agriculture will ultimately result in a decline of our economy. The slowing down of growth in agriculture is generating fewer employment opportunities in this sector, as shown in the graph here. This is really alarming for a country like India with a vast, expanding population to feed. Agriculture has been the foundation of India's economy for hundreds of years. The Government of India realizes the importance of agriculture for the Indian economy. Let us look at some measures taken by the government to boost growth in the agriculture sector. The government set up institutions like the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, ICAR, and the Indian Agricultural Research Institute, IARI, and several agricultural, veterinary, and horticulture universities. The aim of these institutions is to provide education and research and development facilities for the modernization and growth of agriculture in India. As you know, the monsoon still plays an important part in Indian agriculture. Thus, the government has also developed better meteorological facilities for more dependable weather forecasts and improved infrastructure in villages. Despite the government's efforts, we just saw that the figures indicate a slowing down of growth in the agriculture sector. The reason partly lies in the challenges faced by the farmers in India today. Let us now look at some of the challenges faced by farmers that contribute to the slowdown of agricultural growth in India. One of the important steps in the Green Revolution in India was to make fertilizers available to farmers at subsidized or reduced rates. The subsidy on fertilizers has now been reduced. This has increased the cost of production for the farmers as they have to pay more to buy fertilizers. If you go to a supermarket, you can find imported fruits, vegetables and even pulses, cooking oil and sugar competing with Indian products. A reduction in import duties on agricultural items has brought another challenge to the Indian farmers in terms of international competition. Despite continuous efforts of the government, a lot still needs to be done to improve the irrigation and power facilities for the farmers. Rural infrastructure facilities like roads and markets also need to be further developed. Faced by these challenges, many farmers today are looking for other means of employment for themselves and their children.